All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Magic Bricks webinar series. Our endeavor to trigger a buy and bring back consumer confidence in the real estate market. We have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of real estate industry. The topic of today's session is how can you get the best out of real estate in smart cities? Our guest speaker today is E Jayashree Kurup. She's the head of Content and Research Department Magic Bricks. She has been a journalist for over 2 decades with the Times of India, the Economic Times, and the Financial Express. She forayed into research in 2002. She's a regular guest columnist with a number of established media, including the Times of India Group. We will start the session with a presentation. Over to you, Jayashree.
Thank you, Neha. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Magic Bricks webinar series. This time I thought there is a very critical seminar happening in Delhi, in the Habitat Center as we speak. It is the Urban Thinkers Campus. I found that there were some very interesting conversations that were happening there, and it seemed a good time to reinforce what we are talking about today. So what is a smart city? At the Urban Thinkers Campus, I found a definition of smart that really resonated with me. A smart city is one in which people demand good governance, and the government, with better institutions and technology, delivers services in a transparent and efficient manner. This, in a nutshell, is what a smart city is about. The government of India has announced the first 20 smart cities. Cities like Pune and Bhubaneswar have got rave reviews about because of what they have proposed to make their cities. These are good initiatives because India is urbanizing rapidly, and it is time that we looked at how urban Indians can live in comfort and safety. Now, why am I talking about smart cities? Because smart cities means good quality services to the people who live there, which means water, power, sanitation, solid waste management, transport links, public transport and last mile connectivity, safety, green and efficient, energy efficient cities, well planned and managed with technology solutions. Now, we all heard about a girl in Delhi who was abducted last night. And there was a social media campaign. The Delhi police joined in, the UP police joined in, the UP chief minister pushed for its resolution, and the girl, I hear, is safely back on her way back from, I think, somewhere in UP. She was found, and she's on her way back. Now, this is what smart cities is all about. Bad incidents can take place in any city, but technology and efficient correlation should be able to make your cities smart for you to live in. It should be safe for you to live in. This was just something that was so topical that I thought I should mention it. So how does it impact you? This smart city makes the city easy to live in with quality services. It is healthy and clean. Remember that every time a city is badly managed, if we had a sanitation worker strike, and while that many may shrug it off saying, how does that matter? How does our real estate decision matter? It really matters because lack of sanitation, lack of solid and liquid waste management means that your health costs go up every year. And if you want a city that is safe, there should not be waterlogging in places, there should not be waste scattered and garbage all over the city. That makes it your health bills come down. And it should be safe and camera scanned and should be well policed. Today, no longer are we going to work at a certain time and coming back at a certain time. The cities are living round the clock. Each of you, either you're working late hours or after you come from work, you would like to have another life, which is your personal life, where you go to your shopping malls, you go out for a meal, you want to go to entertainment complexes. All this is possible. This kind of lifestyle is possible only if your city is safe, camera scanned, and well policed. And remember, there are all kinds of cameras currently at work in your city. There are police cameras, there are traffic cameras, there are building cameras, there are all kinds of cameras. If they all speak to each other and they become a master grid, then your city's policing will be so much more efficient. It also means a safe city also means easy commute with less dependence on private vehicles. If you have traveled back from work, you may not want to drive again. Can you get public transport which is safe, efficient, and matches the convenience of your private transport? Then governance through technology. Every time you want to pay your bills, do you have to go to stand in long queues? That seems a thing of the past with all the kind of technology services that have happened. The citizen service centers has been one of the biggest boons for citizens who are living in the city, and today everyone has a mobile phone. Can you use your mobile phone to make your communication with your city easier? It should be well planned with ample safe public spaces. Cities around the world are trying to go vertically high. You must have heard about FAR, increased FAR. Increased FAR allows you to go vertically high and leave more open spaces on the ground for people to interact with each other. So how do you get the best out of your real estate values? What has all this got to do with real estate, you may ask? You have to focus on a few things. Buy projects which have all the statutory approvals from the central, state, and local authorities. There are a large number of approvals, and for years, many people have not been checking out the approvals and have burnt their fingers. Currently, because of the slowdown in the property markets over the last 2 years, a lot of users are now asking the right questions, and builders are actually providing them with answers. Go to credible builders with track records. If you see a developer who's offering property at rates lower than the rest of the locality, your antennae should go up. Why would any developer sell you something cheap? It is either because he does not intend to deliver on time, or he does not have all the approvals, wants to make a quick buck and get away, or maybe it's a first-time project and they're using lower values to get you to buy into that project. In which case, you must check whether the project is well financed, if it has got all the requisite approvals. Is there a transparent and clear documentation of issues such as carpet area, super area, occupation certificate, lift certificate? These are all very important for your own personal purchase. So make sure that you ask for these certificates. It is your money. You have the right to ask the queries. After purchase, please look for professional asset maintenance. Buying a very good property is good, but if you don't maintain it well too, at the community level also, then the asset value erodes and you won't have a good resale value. So it is in your favor to go for a developer who maintains the assets even after the sale. Look for the ongoing facility and project management. This really means that how are the parks and the common corridors maintained? How are the lifts and other facilities maintained? Engineering services are important. All these add to the value of your house when you want to sell it after a period of time. Good quality facilities such as security, water, and power services are important too. Now, look for your access to social infrastructure. A good house in a weak locality does not get you the best values. You may be able to buy it cheap today, but if you don't have the social infrastructure of health, education, recreation, culture, then the value of that house will not go up. Commercial infrastructure such as shopping and office facilities in the vicinity are important. Access to transport infrastructure, which means there should be roads, flyovers, no crowded and big traffic jams. All this is important, and quality civic infrastructure is important. So what is the impact of all these facilities? The property values we find are increasingly a very powerful indicator of governance at the city level. If the city has managed its traffic well and your traffic is moving smoothly through your locality, you get better property values. If the city has managed its waste management well, solid waste management, which means that the garbage is collected efficiently and disposed of well, then your property values go up. If there is no waterlogging and the drainage facilities are working, your property values go up. So any intervention in water supply, drainage, sewerage, waste management, power and telecom services results in rising values in your locality. Safety and security for family in the building and the built environment gets you better rental values. So if you are somebody who's buying for either future use or you are buying as an investment, the amount of rental value that you can command it depends on the safety and security within your building and around the building. This can be used as a measure of success of governance initiatives. And these are all part of whatever I'm talking about, are all very critical parts of the Smart City campaign that is currently taken the country by storm. There are 5 civic facilities that you should be really bothered about. Water supply. How much water? What quality of water? How many hours of service do you get? If you have just 1 or 2 hours of service, you have to invest in tanks, storage, and so on. If what you really need is a efficient service that comes to you all the time, 24/7 water supply is what all cities in India are aiming for. Power supply and backup. The quality and frequency is important because you don't want to invest heavily in gensets, in your inverters and so on. If you can actually integrate this with solar, which a lot of cities have started doing, solar power harvested from your rooftop powers your inverters or goes back into the grid and gives you discounts in your monthly power rentals. Transport links, road transport, metro links, bus services, etc. The availability of auto cabs are rated very high in search criteria. We have Magic Bricks localities in the advice section of Magic Bricks. We find that consumers come and rate localities on the basis of how good the transport links are and how efficiently they function. A good street lighting is good for safety of cities. Drainage and sewerage, like I said, are very good for good health of the cities. Good spatial planning for all amenities and facilities on-site and off-site, which really means that you don't want 3 localities in a city getting all the facilities. In a smart city, every locality has equal access and good access to all the basic facilities within your building and outside your building. So what is the role of citizens? What can you do? You have to follow the processes to improve your lives. You have to pay your taxes on time and ensure that those taxes are used to give you better facilities. Demand better public services. It is your right. If you're paying your taxes, you have the right to demand. Understand and embrace new technological innovations, which means that if the government has come up with a certain facility which is available online, go check it out. You may be intimidated first, go to the citizen service centers or go to self-help groups and see how you can do it. But it is important that you understand because technology is going to be the future. Use technology to spread awareness on how government's efforts influence local infrastructure services. I find that neighborhood groups on WhatsApp, on Facebook and so on are very, very critical to ensure that you have the power as a group of concerned citizens to ensure that the efficiency of governance comes within your locality. This leads to better value for your own individual property. You become the city's eyes and ears and actively engage with authorities to ensure effective governance. If you see garbage anywhere, like the Prime Minister has said, you can actually help. You can report that there is garbage. You can help by getting it picked up. You can ensure that you have access to governance. If you crib without trying, then there will be very little that you can do. Take bigger responsibilities, waste management, water conservation. the cities today are struggling with delivering enough quality water, and there are a lot of people who wash roads and wash their cars with that water. What are the alternatives? Try and figure out alternatives and make sure that your service delivery people use less and less water that comes at a very high cost. So what are the solutions? You can participate in the governance. You can ensure that the implementation of the 74th Amendment of the Constitution, which means local area planning and services. There's no one more concerned than you within your locality to ensure that the services are good and efficient and delivered on time every time. Be a part of the active movement so that you can make sure that the services are good. Insist on planning and push for its implementation. Citizen activism around the world has been the best way of ensuring good governance, but adhere to rules and shun those properties that violate the regulations. These are some of the ideas that I wanted to leave you with. We can now go to the queries. Shall we go to the queries, Neha?
Sure, Jayashree, sure. You want me to read the first query for you?
Yeah, please.
Okay. It's a query from Rishi Sharma from Delhi. He's asking what residential housing options will I have in upcoming 100 smart cities of India? I am keen to invest in one of these top 20 smart cities to earn maximum benefits.
Okay. Rishi, it's like this. The smart cities, every city has been given funds which the government of India and the state governments are making available to cities to ensure that all the facilities are there. Now, why are Indian cities not smart? Because we've had unplanned development. A lot of rules have not been followed. But today, with the kind of planning that is being superimposed on these cities, at least you can be sure that wherever new development comes, off-site infrastructure and services will come with it. So what you want to know is what are the residential options that you will have. The residential options will largely come from, the bulk of the development will come from the private sector. The government on its part is promising that the approvals for these projects will be fast-tracked so that the city's housing stock goes up. So smart cities is a very new concept here, and the first 20 cities are just laying their plans for it. But in the process, what is happening is that you as citizens can push that this is where I'm looking for properties, and these are the localities that I have to invest in, because that is where the rules have already, the ground rules have already been laid. Look for those corridors. Today, new real estate development happens along transport corridors that go out of the city, because that is where there is access to infrastructure, and you know that there's connectivity. Go for those places which have active economic activity happening. If you're working in one corner of the city, don't go and look for buildings in another corner of the city. If you're looking as an investor, remember that those areas which are near economic hubs are the ones that will give you the best rental values once your property is ready. The next query we've got from Jyotsna Kaushik, who says, as a citizen, what should we expect from smart city which will actually impact our life? Jyotsna, everything that a smart city offers is something that impacts your life. Now let's look at what that entails. Like I said, we saw the sanitation workers strike. The sanitation workers were striking because they had not got their dues for a long time. This, despite the fact that there are resources that are made available to the state. Now, in the Indian system, what is happening is that there is the center which gives money to the states, and the states have to give it to the local authorities, who will then be able to pay their workers. Now, if that payment to workers does not happen, we've seen what havoc can be caused on the streets of India. When the quality of water is not good, as an individual can probably write to some editors, put it on your Facebook, use social media, and so on. But when a group of citizens becomes a group that is an activism, a group that will push for good quality services in your city, then that is citizen activism, and that is what the 74th Amendment actually aimed to give. Let's go to Rahul from Bengaluru, who says, will it be a good choice to buy a home in the top 20 smart cities of India recently announced? What prices can one expect for properties in these smart cities? Rahul, the smart cities are not cities where the value of property is going to be higher, or that suddenly you will see property coming up everywhere. Smart cities are also not new cities. These are the existing cities where the quality of services are going to be pushed up so that you get better value for your houses. If you are from Bengaluru, look at Bengaluru. See what is available in the market, and check out that you're buying in those localities where civic facilities are good. Now, if you are from the IT sector and you want to invest in a city that has come in the top 20 cities, go to Bhubaneswar, go to Pune, cities which have promised that we will give you good governance. Good, well-governed cities will give you better real estate returns. But what that return will be depends on which locality you buy in, what category you buy in, and how long you're willing to wait for the investment. Just because a city is declared smart, property values don't go up tomorrow. It is a gradual process where the smart city becomes efficiently managed, it becomes easy to live in, and gradually the property values go up. And property, you must remember, is a long-term investment of at least 5 to 7 years. There is Sandeep from Mumbai who says, I'm curious to know whether the smart cities mission is going to boost real estate market in India. How will this mission ensure people get basic facilities in proximity without worrying for water and electricity issues? Actually, when we spoke to some of the bureaucrats and ministers recently, what we got to know is actually India is not so much deficient in the power and water as much as in our distribution. A smart city is one which will enhance its distribution services and ensure that water gets distributed well. If we can control leakages, we will be able to give better quality of services. And that is one of the biggest challenges that Indian cities are facing. You know that water power has been privatized. The private power companies are also struggling because there is a lot of leakage. And why does this leakage happen? Because our cities have traditionally catered to only one set of people who could afford to live in the city. But the city does not function only on the basis of a few people who can afford to buy and live in the city. The bulk of the city populations live in rental housing, and we have weak rental laws. One of the things that the government of India's housing ministry is working on is a good, well thought out rental housing policy that will ensure that everyone is safe in the city, and landlords are happy to lease out their properties because they know that their assets will be safe and rental housing rules can be followed. The other thing is that there is a certain category of people who were not catered to in the city, and these were people who could not afford to buy property or who could not afford expensive property. They started occupying whatever was your vacant land, and that has become the slums in the cities. The Smart City Mission actually wants to ensure that by 2022, every Indian family should have a pakka house to stay in. That is a big challenge, and there is a lot of work happening. But I don't think that every one of them will be able to own the pakka house that they will be living in. But if you can ensure that there is enough structured, organized rental housing, which gives good quality houses to all citizens in the city. It can be a smaller house, it can be one where the quality of inputs are a little lower than the premium houses. But if everybody gets access to a good quality of life, your city automatically will become easier to live in, and everyone will have the facilities. Then people will stop stealing power, stealing water, because they have access to a certain amount of water and power. That will make the quality of services to all better in the city. How will residents be trained to use smart services? Will the government take charge of it? Jyotsna Kaushik wants to know. Capacity building is one of the biggest things that the government has agreed to do. It has undertaken to do, but the capacity building, which really means training people to use those services efficiently so that the quality of your life goes up. In the beginning, the training is being focused on the people who have to deliver the services, which means the municipal authorities. A lot of effort is being made to train the municipal authorities to deliver the services well and effectively and in an efficient manner. There are a lot of groups which are trying to bring citizens together and training them to live well in the city. I hope, Jyotsna, that this should be a reality in the next 2 to 3 years. There is Rakesh from Delhi who says there is already a huge unsold inventory available in the market. How will the smart cities mission attract buyers? The smart cities mission is not to attract buyers. The aim of the smart cities mission is not to attract buyers. The aim of the smart cities mission is to make more housing available in categories that will ensure that everybody can have access to housing. Like I said before, a large part of these houses are not used because they are not well connected to the commercial hubs. They may not have all the facilities that will make them livable. So the government is currently undertaking and they are undertaking a very ambitious program where they are trying to figure out why houses are vacant and how those vacant houses can be brought into the market. This will be done with a combination of incentives as well as disincentives to keep houses vacant. Now, you may wonder why there is so much vacant stock in the market. Because the developers had outpriced the houses, and average citizens could not afford to buy these expensive houses, or they did not find value in buying these expensive houses. Over the last 2 years, there has been a huge lull in the property market, and as a result, property values have not gone up at all, or if they have gone up, it has been about 3 to 5%. Indexed to inflation, that is actually a drop in property values. Because there is more stock and less demand, there is a lot of negotiation that is happening. So if you are in the property market looking for property, check out what your options are, find out who's selling, go and actively negotiate with sellers. All sellers today are willing to negotiate if you have cash with you, and if you go with the checkbook, I think you can negotiate best values today. I think this will last for another 6 to 8 months. That's about the highest that you will get. Is there any extra cost involved if I opt to make my locality smart? Actually, making your locality smart brings down your costs. Today, if you have to if the quality of water given to you is not good, you have to invest in RO systems and water cleansing systems, which will make your water drinkable. Imagine a society like maybe Singapore or so on, or cities like that, where the entire water is actually drinkable. You don't need any backup facilities. You have to invest in inverters and generators because the quality of power is weak. You need backup facilities. If the locality's power situation is better, you don't need backup facilities. That reduces your cost of investing in those facilities and maintaining those facilities. now look at garbage and so on. If you can ensure that your locality is garbage free, is cleaned regularly, does not have standing water anywhere, you will have fewer cases of dengue and diseases that are spread by flies and mosquitoes, and you will be your health costs will go down. So it's not extra cost, it's a little extra effort that will ensure that your cities become livable, and it's easier to live there, and it will give you more time in your hands, it will give you a better quality of life, and the cost of living will go down. I know a smart city in the long term helps in the betterment of people's lives. What about the short-term positives? If you have less garbage around you, it is a short-term positive. If you can ensure that there is pedestrian footpaths, that means that you have to take out your car fewer times. You can walk to the private market, a local market. You can actually walk safely if the street lighting is good, if the pedestrian footpaths are all free of encroachments, and if you don't have people living hawking their wares in places that was meant for citizens to walk in. That is what makes the city smart. So this is the short-term positive. There is Pooja from Pune who says, can Pune provide a smart option for home buyers, as it is one of the most lucrative markets for investment in the year 2016? Pooja, I would say that Pune is already led the way, because Pune's local management, the local area, the urban local body has been extremely proactive and has been one of the best managed urban local bodies in the country, which probably is why they were able to make it to the top 20 and right on top. Now, can they provide smart options for home buyers? Of course they can. There are so many localities that are scheduled to come into the PMC and the PCMC, but are still, development has preceded the actual absorption into the municipal limits. When you are within the municipal limits, the municipality provides all the services in that area. Now, having announced it and delaying that process actually means that a lot of unplanned infrastructure is coming up there, and that is bad for the city. Pune can provide a smart option for home buyers if it ensures that the quality of civic services is good across the city, in the current city areas, and what is already planned there. There is Sagar from Noida who says, I want to buy a property, but delay in delivery and legal hurdles is keeping me away. Now, if I have to invest in one of these locations where the smart cities mission will be implemented, then how safe and different will it be for me? What new can I get in these cities? Sagar, Noida is a place where policy as well as private developer greed has been keeping a lot of consumers away. Noida extension is a typical example where because of an NGT order, a large number of buyers as well as developers were stuck because projects could not be cleared. Now, there are 2 or 3 rules of the thumb that I would like users like you to observe. The first one is, go ask for the approvals that are required. Magic Bricks has put up many documents where we have tried to tell you what are the approvals that are required, what are the documents that you should be checking before you buy a property. Ensure that the approvals are there and that you can actually build residential property on that property. The second thing that you should look for is whether the developer is sticking to the timeline. It is good to keep visiting those projects where you have invested and ensure that there is work happening on the ground. If you see that the pace of work has slowed down considerably, you are within your rights to go back to the developer and ask, how can I, why is the development slow? Buying into funded projects which have structured funding is always a good idea, because you know that the project will not be held up for lack of funds. And any financier, the lending institution, ensures that if it is giving the next tranche of money, the work should also be going. So it is good to buy into funded projects. You also have to ensure that the developer is following the rules and not violating any of them, because after purchase you will have problems. So it is good to see that they have completion certificates and occupation certificates, so that you know that those houses are livable. At the same time, please check out what kind of infrastructure is coming up around it. The flyovers, metro links, bus services, these are all very critical in ensuring that you get best value out of the property investment. Amit says, what price trend can we expect in the real estate once the city becomes a smart city? Amit, it is not that you will suddenly see a spike in values, but you, like I said earlier, good quality services always lead to better long-term value for the property. So please ensure that you check out what the cities are offering its citizens. Smart cities are supposed to put all the projects up on their websites so that citizens can have access it. Go to your city's websites and check out what kind of services they have promised. If you are buying into a location where new services are coming up, that will give you long-term value. There is Sachin from Gurgaon who says, can you please elaborate which areas in Delhi are selected for the Smart Cities mission? Will I have an opportunity to buy in Delhi, and what are the prices I can expect in these locations? Unfortunately, Sachin, in Delhi, the New Delhi Municipal Corporation area has been picked up, and that really is a very, very small subset of the Delhi area and of the NCR, and with very limited opportunity for individuals to buy. You may not be able to invest in New Delhi Municipal Corporation, but only the first 20 cities have been announced. There are 100 cities, 100 smart cities and 500 Amrut cities for which funds have been allocated. So hold your horses or go to those cities where you think there is more option to buy. There is Anju who says, will real estate witness an appreciation in property values? What about affordable housing? Now these are two different things, Anju. Real estate values will rise, and this is a given, because we have seen this around the world and around our country. Real estate is a cyclical business. As the supply grows, when there is more supply than demand, then values rationalize, and you will find that you are able to negotiate better values. Once the consumers become active, and that normally happens when the economy picks up, because when new jobs are there, people are moving from city to city, there is your monthly pay packet is going up, then you know that you will have more money in your pocket to buy new properties. That is when you will be able to see a rise in property values. We don't expect the Indian property values to rise for at least the next 6 to 8 months. It will be a slow, gradual take up of property, and as the supply gets taken up, that is when you will see values going up. There are all indications that values could go up over the next year, and I'll give you a few of these. In 2015, while residential property markets were languishing, the commercial property markets have been the best year yet in recent times. Practically all grade A space has been taken up across the country, across large and small cities. This means that there will be a lot of IT and ITES companies have taken up for consolidation and for future growth. A lot of startups have taken up commercial space. The pharma sector has been a big occupant of new commercial space. If the commercial sector takes up space, obviously they expect growth in the future. With this kind of growth, you will find that there will be more demand, because there will be more jobs, and therefore there will be enhanced buying. but you will have to wait. In the property market, there is no rapid rise in property values, so you will have to be patient. The second thing that you asked is about affordable housing. Affordable housing falls in two categories. The EWS category, what is classified as EWS category, is families with a family income of less than 3 lakhs. These are the people who have been squatters traditionally in cities, and because of the squatting, sanitation, level of services, all have been impacted. The aim is to make houses available to these citizens who cannot afford to purchase a house and who have a very small rental affordability as well, for them to have houses that they can live in and avail facilities which they will pay for. They are formally allowed to have access to facilities, in which case they will not steal from the central pool of services, and the quality of services to the cities as a whole increases. The second category of affordable housing is for those with a family income of 3 to 6 lakhs and who are first time buyers largely, who have a small amount of affordability and for whom the agencies like the National Housing Bank have actually offered discounted home loan interest rates. We'll do check our columns regularly. We do write about this, and you will be able to figure out how. If you have more queries, you can always come back to our forum, and we'd be happy to answer these queries for you. There is Jaya from Delhi who says, will the properties be expensive in fulfilling smart city mission? Do you have an estimate on how much this exercise will cost the home buyers? Well, the one thing that it is costing us is that we all pay our smart city, our sanitation cess, right? That is a big amount. With everything that you buy, you're paying a cess. That is what it costs us, but that puts money in the government kitty, which if well used should actually bring down the cost of services to you and give you long-term value. Joby Verghese from Kerala says, what are the investment opportunities in these smart cities? Will the rates be too high or affordable, as the buying sentiment appears to be very low across India now? Yes, Joby, the buyer sentiment is extremely low, the lowest we've seen in a long, long time. And there are many reasons for this. One is that the Indian economy has been in a lull for some time, and since there is not enough new job creation and not enough salary hikes, therefore there is less disposable income for people. But more than this, I think there has been a lot of default on the part of the industry in giving houses on time. A lot of consumers who bought houses in the 2007-8 cycle and the 2010-11 cycle have not had their houses delivered on time, or in many cases the quality of those houses has also been weak. Now, when this kind of thing happens, it immediately impacts consumer sentiment, and coupled with the global weak economic sentiment, there has been a lull in the Indian property markets. However, I think Indian consumers need to rise above that, because over the last 1 year, a lot of houses have actually been, houses that have been delayed have been constructed and ready. Now, we have computed the prop index, which is now hit the stands. You can read prop index at propindex.magicbricks.com. What prop index has shown us is that ready to move in properties have the values of ready to move in properties have risen over under construction properties. Clearly, consumers are willing to pay a little extra for houses that are already ready and which they can live in immediately, ready to occupy. This is a good sign. So if you are hesitant about investing in property markets where the houses are under construction, either buy about 6-8 months from construction, from delivery, which means that most of the structure is complete and it's only the finishing that is left. That time you don't have to pay the highest rates, or wait till the possession time happens and buy at possession, when you know that the house is, you can buy the house and move straight into possession. There is a query. Is there a specific window which we can approach in case we have a smart city query? Yes, there are many agencies which are actually addressing consumer smart city queries. However, there is no one central service that is available. You can post your query back to MagicBricks, and MagicBricks is coordinating with a lot of agencies to ensure that your smart city queries are addressed all the time. So come back to our forum, and we'd be very happy to answer your queries. There is Amrita from Chandigarh who says, the smart cities mission sounds very interesting. I want to ask you whether these cities are going to provide more residential housing options. Will I get a chance to buy in Delhi once the scheme is implemented? Actually, Amrita, it's not only smart cities is one of the ways in which the government wants to kickstart urban management in India. However, for you to have more housing options in Delhi, there is another scheme that is happening, which when implemented well should take care of this. Uh, the government of India has found that there is a huge amount of vacant stock across the Delhi market. They're making huge efforts to make sure that this vacant stock gets accessed, gets relieved, and consumers can actually buy these houses. Once that happens, once these houses come back into the pool, more stock always means more cost-effective housing, because whoever held on to it as speculation will start bringing it out into the open market. The other reason why these houses could not be occupied is probably because the infrastructure facilities had not come to these areas. Here too, the government is intervening and ensuring that they're trying to plan so that these facilities start coming back into the market, into those localities. Then these houses will come into the market. More stock means that you will have better access to the houses that you can afford. There is a third scheme that you should also keep watch on. It's too premature. Please do not buy in those areas where there is pooled land. But the Delhi government has actually engaged in a structured exercise of bringing vacant land into a common pool, which the government will then master plan and allow development to happen. This has happened largely in the Najafgarh areas and in Chhatarpur areas, but do make sure that you wait for the policy to play out. There are a lot of fly-by-night operators working there right now, so please do not buy in the pooled land area. But long term, once the policy plays out, you will have a lot more opportunity to buy within the Delhi areas. There is Upasana from Gurgaon who has said, the smart city race is heating up. What makes Pune an obvious candidate for the challenge? Well, Upasana, Pune was always an obvious candidate because the Pune government ensured that governance was not a one-time activity. They kept planning newer zones where there would be economic activity. Any city where the economic activity is spread out in multiple areas, that is where you will find that you won't have the entire city moving in one direction, and therefore the roads are clogged. Now, if you look at the growth of Pune areas, you find that the Hinjewadi IT Park, the Aeon IT Park in the Karadi regions, the Magarpatta IT Park, these are all spread out across the city, and therefore there is demand for housing in all parts of the city. That is very healthy. And along with that, they have ensured that they do keep planning to bring new areas into the city limits so that it is serviced with city municipal services. Manufacturing has also been Pune's strength, and while the manufacturing was chugging along, there has been a concentrated push by the city managers and the state government to go out and source new manufacturing inputs. Recently, there have been two big international groups which have purchased a lot of land around the Talegaon region where there will be new manufacturing facilities set up. As a result, those areas which were closer between Navi Mumbai and Pune Hinjewadi are actually getting a fresh lease of life, and you will be able to see that some activity there soon. As a result, Pune was always a good candidate because it focused on planning its city. Sarith from Gurgaon says, how beneficial is the smart cities mission going to be for the Indian real estate sector? How will it address problems relating to water, electricity, sewerage, greenery, employment and connectivity? Will these cities be disabled friendly as well? This is a good question, Sarith. Yes, making a city disabled friendly is high on the agenda of policymakers right now. Many cities are retrofitting their areas and their public, at least their government buildings and public buildings, so that it is disabled friendly. A safe city and a smart city is always an inclusive city where no matter what your disabilities, you should be able to access all facilities comfortably. When the JNNURM came and brought low-floor buses into the Indian market, that was probably one of the efforts to make sure that at least public transport should be accessible to all. While I can't say that it has been 100% successful, it was a step in the right direction. Water, electricity, greenery and so on is something that all citizens should have equal access to. The efforts at ensuring that there is enough public housing and affordable housing coming up is only so that if everyone has access to formal housing, then there will be no pilferage of civic services like water and power, and the quality of services can be ensured. Hema from Mumbai says the smaller tier 2 and tier 3 cities offering immense growth potential, which would be an ideal place for investment. Hema, any city where there is economic driver, which means that there is either a manufacturing facility or some IT activity or maybe pharma is a driver, or cities that are along the logistics hubs that are being planned. Wherever there is economic activity, there will be active requirement for good quality housing. Those are the tier 2 and tier 3 cities that you should be looking at. However, don't put your money in because somebody told you. Please do your analysis well and get some expert help before you invest in cities that you don't know about. Abha is asking, generally the project approval takes a lot of time, which eventually leads to delay in delivery of the project. Will this issue be addressed? Yes, Abha, this is one of the critical things that the Government of India is trying to address. Cities, the approvals process of cities, real estate development in cities is something that has plagued Indian real estate for a long time. According to the Minister for Housing, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, when we spoke to him last, he said they're working towards a plan where if everything could be online, and this is an effort that is being made. If all approvals are sought online, then a developer can actually adhere to all the approvals and start construction within 3 months because it is a deemed approval. But if they violate the norms, then they have to pay heavy penalties. This is something that is proposed. A couple of cities, I think somewhere in Gujarat, have already implemented this, but I don't think deemed approvals is something that has happened already. Another reason for the delay is that we look at the same place being approved multiple times for the same reason. For instance, if the airport authority has created a flight path approval, then that approval can be a deemed approval, and every developer does not need to seek a separate approval for that. This is what the government is working towards. It is still the nitty-gritty are being sorted out, but hopefully this should be a part of policy soon. There is Nandini from Delhi who says, can we use solar power to meet demand in residential colonies across the country? Will consumers be willing to invest in solar power panels if it is placed in rooftops? How is the buyer sentiment for solar energy consumption in India? Nandini, solar is a big thing that is happening. It is still expensive. Initial capital and investment is a little higher. However, there are many city governments which have made it mandatory for developers to include solar panels if they want approvals for their houses. Bangalore, Hyderabad, these are all cities where it is mandatory. The Prime Minister's visit to France has yielded some very creative participation from the French companies in in our solar cities here. We have designated solar cities. It should be playing out soon, but it is a little early. But a straight answer to your question: can you use solar power to meet residential demand? Total demand, no. But many cities are giving you incentives for putting the power back into the grid, and you get paid for that. And there are some consumers that I know who actually get negative bills because they have pushed so much power, solar power, back into the grid. But it is a while away to become a commonly used policy. I'm into the last few questions right now. We have Abhishek Cheria, who says, what is the difference between Indian Smart Cities Challenge and Smart Cities Mission? The Smart Cities Mission was what the government of India created, where it asked Indian cities to compete with each other with proposals which would make their cities smart. Since all cities were given the option of competing with each other, and the ones that met the time frame and within that challenge are the ones that are the first movers. While 100 smart cities and 500 Amrut cities are the ones that have been announced, there are many other schemes through which cities can actually source funds from governments. Now, because it is a government move and it is something that is being pushed at a policy level, a lot of private sector investment is also coming into the sector. This is the difference between the Smart Cities Mission, which the government announced, and the challenge which the cities had to participate in. There is Shlok, who says, according to you, what will be the impact of smart cities on the cities which was not in the smart city list? What will be the impact on its real estate market? You see, the thing is that the ones that created a master plan of the city as well as its services are the ones that were picked up by the government for sourcing the funds. If you are in a city where which has not been picked up, you as citizens can actually push your city governments through your local MLAs to aspire for these funds, because there is enough funds available from the government of India and the private sector for every Indian city to be smart. But a smart city needs smart citizens, and smart citizens have to voice their opinions before it becomes a reality. We have got a query saying that how is Bengaluru getting impacted by the smart city concept? Why is the city not part of the list? Because it did not participate in the smart cities. And the other thing is that even if it is not part of the smart cities list, it is probably one of the best candidates for becoming a smart city. It was a city that attempted to make itself smart way back in the 1990s, when leaders like Nandan Nilekani and was in Infosys, and they led the Bangalore Agenda Task Force. Bangalore companies are willing to participate, but I think the state's politics have not allowed a lot of private participation to happen. It is important that Bangalore citizens lead the charge, and there is no reason why Bangalore should not be a smart city. I think we are completely out of time at this point. I will be happy to take all the other queries. I'll answer them, and they'll be back on our forum. So you can visit us on forum.magicbricks.com, and back to you, Neha.
Thank you very much, Jayashree, for your insightful presentation. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on Magic Bricks by tomorrow. This is Neha Nagpal, the moderator of the session, signing off. Thank you all.
Thank you.